Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for Redefining Real Estate. I'm Brian Dobbs. I'm the host, and want to welcome my co-host, Lyndon Wilson.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Brian.
Lyndon, I cannot see you. So, Lyndon Wilson is the founder of The Difference. And guys, if you've ever wanted to get onto a radio program and to a show, The Difference is amazing. And what Lyndon's done with us thus far is fantastic. Good morning, Lyndon. I can see you now.
Good morning. I was there earlier. I don't know how you couldn't see me, but good morning to you, Brian, and good morning to everyone else.
You know, if you don't get a curveball every once in a while, especially with technology and technical difficulties, you're just not doing it enough, right?
That's
so
true.
Today we have a fantastic show for you guys. I have one of my really good friends. I've known him for a long time, Matt Kern with Super Inspection. And I'd like to introduce you to Matt Kern today.
Hey guys, it's good to see both of y'all.
Good morning, Matt.
And
good morning, Matt.
And welcome everybody that's on watching us today and will be watching us on the rebroadcast.
Another curveball.
It's funny
Eventually we're going to get like a fastball, maybe a sinker. We won't even know what those are here in just a minute because
Brian, I think we're losing you on your let me see. Let me pull him out here and then add him back. Yeah, we may have lost him. Anyway, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good.
We will go through this until we can get Brian back on.
Isn't it funny, Lyndon, of how we learn things through trial and error, right? Through technical difficulties, right? Really, I mean, us three all know that
very well.
We're going to learn through whatever fails and how to fix it because we're all kind of mechanically inclined, and that's what we want to do. We want to fix things.
Right. Well, you know, and that's one thing, you know, when we created the show, The Difference, and then we're turning that into basically the media company, the radio show. One of the things, Matt, is that the people that really stand out and excel that we have come to observe are the ones that can really adapt and overcome, which we're all in a situation like that right now, where we're adapting and overcoming with COVID. We're doing things completely different. We got Brian back now. Brian, you froze up on us. I think it was maybe a connection issue, but good to see you again.
It must be a connection issue. When I freeze on my own show, that there might be an issue. So we'll get that looked into. So, but guys, I appreciate you guys all being on here. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brian. It's good to see you today. Even when you freeze up, you still look good. Lyndon, you look great day too. I appreciate you guys inviting me to be on with today. Brian, we were just talking about the difference, right? In combating the trial and error and even technical issues that we have to deal with. And I think Lyndon was going to say something about that. Obviously, when you get knocked down, Lyndon, you got to get back up, right?
Absolutely. And it's you start to, and Brian knows this, I created the difference to bring awareness to the commonalities of the people that seem to have that fighting spirit, and they just keep pushing forward regardless of what's thrown at them. And you know, today's show and Brian getting frozen out is kind of a microcosm of the COVID and different things that can happen to us in business on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly, yearly. And it's just, I call it the American spirit. That may put some people off given today's climate, but it's to me, the American spirit is that entrepreneur that just refuses to give up and give in and keeps looking for a way to get it done. And you know, Brian's got that. He jumped right back in the show, and here we are again.
Yeah.
Well, and I I absolutely agree that that could be uh, categorized as the American spirit, but also when you're looking at your movies and your shows with the hero there that they fought obstacles, they fought hindrances, they fought delays or denials or distractions, but at the end of the day they won. The end of the day they got the results. The end of the day they restored good, or they restored peace, and that's that fighting spirit that I really believe that we should have, that drive, and that's one of the reasons I invited Matt Kern to be with us today, because Matt, you and I go back what, 10 years? Is that
Yeah.
about right?
Yeah.
I've kind of lost count, but it's been a while.
2008
Okay,
would
so
be our beginning together.
I'm so glad you have a better memory than I do. So, 2008, going back, that's a long time, Lyndon. And when you see someone that maintains character and drive and tenacity and perseverance, that's the spirit of the game. That you're going to get curveballs. You're going to get things that are unknown, and circumstances and situations that might detour you or might distract you or derail you momentarily. But Matt, I've seen you consistent, what you do day in and day out, and you still keep on plugging away. And that's again, hence the reason I invited you on Redefining Real Estate, because that's not necessarily a common trait now. It's not.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to, what I keep hearing the word is leadership. Is leadership is where you stand in place where there's a gap, right? Where you fill in when there's nobody else there. How many times, Brian, did we do, um, uh, uh, getting together and having different businesses, around us, and asking questions and asking for people to stand in, and nobody held their hand up, and we had to stand up and hold our hands up to be able to be a filler in whatever that defining moment was.
Absolutely. So especially when, even personally, when we go through setbacks or things that might cause us to get off the track momentarily in our personal lives. Matt, I've seen, our relationship. You stood in the gap for me, and I've been able to stand in the gap for other people, and we work that way. And that is something that I really believe that the community that we not only that we serve, but that we hang around and surround ourselves with, is critical to our success, and to keep that drive, that momentum, the energy level at a peak. So we might scrape our knees, but I have a brother there to pick me up, and that's cool, and I really like that. Lyndon, what are your comments on that? I know we talk about this all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, daily, I would say. And you know how I feel about it. I think I love the underdog spirit. I love the people that when everything goes wrong, they never give up. And I think in today's society, it's so easy to jump ship and go start a new job, a new career, whatever it may be. When the going gets tough, sometimes people just go do something different. And I love just, and I've said this before, one of the things that I enjoy doing is studying people and studying why they're so successful. And it's just very inspiring for me to see people that have been in an industry, in a career, and know that they have gone through things like COVID or through the market crash in 2008, and still are alive and doing well. It's not fun for any of us, but it's just, and Brian, you were right to touch on what you said. Surrounding yourselves with people that inspire you to not give up, to not, as my grandfather used to say, don't change horses in the middle of the stream. I think that it's hard to place a value on those type of people. that they're struggling too, but they're still fighting. What are you going to do? You going to be the weak link and just give up and walk away and say, you guys are tougher than me? No, sir. And you look around and no one wants to be that weak link. No one wants to give up and give in. And we can talk about how difficult things are sometimes, but we always find the strength to keep going. And I really appreciate gentlemen like both of you, and proud to be able to call y'all my friends, because whether you know it or not, y'all do inspire me to fight through sometimes when things are tough.
Well, I appreciate that as well, Lyndon. One of the words that's coming to my mind is grit. Do we have it? Do we have that personality that has a stick-to-itiveness that once we lock into it, we're going to lock in. Now, to be cautious, we don't want to be rebellious, and we definitely don't want to be pig-headed or stubborn in that, because there are times, when we need to look at redefining ourselves or redefining how we're doing things, redefining. But that doesn't take away from the grit, does it, Matt?
No, it doesn't. And we have to look at what we all had to do back in March. We had to figure out a way to pivot to be able to deal with what was coming down the pipe, right? And I think, we learned that a long time ago, was to network with the right people around you, surround yourselves with better people, so it makes you look better, for one, but you have somebody to lean on to and to address the obstacles that come our way, whether that they're business or they're personal, and then be able to overcome that and look towards the future. And I think looking towards the future is not just looking at day-to-day obstacles that we have to, but what's in our future, what's down the road that we're going to, what we do now is where is it going to position us later on in our lives and in our business.
Yeah. So being able to pivot, love that word. And I've looked at being flexible, being able to adapt.
Yeah.
And then also not being distracted by the situation and circumstance at hand.
Mm-hmm.
The storm is a storm, and the reality of it, it's real. But the other reality of a storm is it always passes, right? I mean, we haven't had a horrible thunderstorm that keeps on going. It might last a little longer. That storm pattern might last a little longer. But in the grand scheme of things, it came to pass. So it came and it passes. And that is one of the things that I find, especially surrounding myself with men like you and both of you in my life, having that friendship, having the ability to go and call you and say, hey, listen, I'm having a rough day. There's a storm in my life that I need to pull on you a little bit. Iron sharpens iron, just as one man to another.
Yes.
And we strengthen one another. And that's been fantastic through the years. And even knowing that we've developed a tenure for 12 years and keep that going. That's fantastic.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Has there ever been a time in your life where you faced something that may have seemed insurmountable at the time, just extremely difficult, extremely challenging, maybe overwhelming? Has there ever been a time like that at some point you didn't find a new opportunity?
Matt, we're going to go with you.
No, you know what? Looking back on all of this, Lyndon, is I've always been blessed. I've always seen the light one way or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't die, maybe I died to it, but I did die physically, to
Right.
it. Did I feel like I wanted to? Yeah. Did I feel like, that a failure or I couldn't come out of it? Right. But I always knew that if I'm going to hit bottom, the only place I can go from bottom is up. Right.
And when we look back on things like that, Matt, I can think of several in my life where I thought life was not literally, but it just seemed like that everything I'd ever worked for was gone.
Yeah.
And now I look back, and because that happened, something better happened. And it's just amazing to me. And not that I'm perfect about it, but I try to look at that when something, and I had a really good friend tell me many years ago when one of the things happened, a business that I worked for was shutting down. She goes, in chaos, there is opportunity, but you got to find it.
That's right.
And I will never forget those words, because in my mind, it's true. If I look back on my life, when things got the worst, when I thought that, why me? How did this happen to me? Everything was just the way that I wanted it. And then I come out of that and I'm like, wow, that wasn't as good as what I thought it was. Life now is much better. And so I think that, and Matt, we were talking about this before the show. I think that we have seen that through this COVID. The people that have that grit, as Brian would say, is they refuse to curl up in a ball and just go, oh, well, I'm just going to take a break till all this passes. They fight through it because they know there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because listen, if we just delay it, we're still going to have to face it at some point. And why not just face it on, take it on now, right? Get it over with and get through it.
Well, I like to do that while everybody else is sleeping.
Right. And then,
if everybody else is going to take a break, we have an advantage. The person that responds first is going to have a distinct advantage.
Yeah. Brian, I was just thinking about back when you and I met, man, things were popping. We were killing it, right, in the real estate market. And then 2008-9 came along, right? And we all had to transition and go through a change and to be able to stay in it. And then COVID comes along, right? We all knew that 10, 12 years into this cycle is that we were going to go through some kind of change, some kind of transition was going to come along, not knowing it was going to be a virus, like this.
Right.
And either we can run from it and try to deal with it later on, or we can hit it head on now and go through it. But I think, and what Lyndon was kind of bringing up, is that there's opportunity and obstacles. And when everybody else is quitting and running the other way, we're standing here and we're going to go through it. And what we're going to go through at the end of that is a benefit that we were never aware of what we were going to get to if we hadn't started that journey, through it. Because a lot of people left in our business. A lot of people are still leaving in our business. And I look at that as an opportunity for me to increase my business, right?
Sure. So I just wrote down, just before you said this, Lyndon, about the chaos and there's opportunities, I wrote down uncertainty. In times of uncertainty, there are more opportunities. Because when you look at this and you see it from a different angle, if you just take a 30,000 foot snapshot of it, when the uncertainty catches our focus, that's all we can see is the debris of the storm. Mm-hmm. But when we stay focused to continue to keep our eyes open for opportunity, then Matt, you are absolutely correct. Opportunity presents itself. It is right before us. Opportunity is hidden in plain sight. And I say that over and over and over and over again. One of these days it's going to click in me. So I'll be able to look at it and find out this is an opportunity. But
that's right. But
this is the great part. So when we're talking about real estate, we actually talk about real property. But when we look at real estate, what about the space in between our ears? That's real estate as well. And how are we utilizing our mind and utilizing our history? And when this COVID thing hit, I looked at my wife and I said, honey, we're going to be okay. I said, because my life, and Lynn, you asked before, you said, was there any time in your life that you felt there was a trial or there was a testing or there was a craziness in your life, that there wasn't a hope at the end? There wasn't an opportunity, that you didn't see a change? and fortunately I have, and I'm still here, Matt. I didn't die physically, but I died to it, and I'm still here, living and breathing, but that didn't kill me. It made me stronger. I was actually trained in messiness in order to get through this, so I could have a message. And that's a great part about all of us, is that our messes become messages, our tests become testimonies, and what we go through actually has given us the wherewithal to hold on to the promise that we have and to keep on forging forward. So great topics there. I love this conversation, because the real estate in my mind is really important to me.
Well, and that leads me to some things I was writing down, Brian. When we talk about these type of situations, what are your guys' thoughts on a person that's decisive versus indecisive? Will a decisive person, someone that can readily take action, do they have an advantage in situations like this? The person that kind of overanalyzes everything and kind of maybe paralysis by analysis type, are they the ones that struggle? How important is being able to make a decision? How important is that in a time of chaos or struggle or crisis like we're going through?
Matt, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's the approach, right? It's how you see it, in what position you play in that, and do you put that in front of you as the trophy, right? That even if it's not something that you're not trying to work towards, is it the golden horse in front of you that your eyes are on? Is it the shiny thing, right, that's taking your attention to that when you should be attending to other things?
I agree. And I think, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to concur with that statement, Matt, because I really believe that you can be decisive, Lyndon, and you can analyze, but you could analyze the wrong thing, and you could be absolutely decisive on the wrong thing. But if you are looking your approach to it, and you're looking for an opportunity, or you're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, or you're looking for the hope in the situation, you're looking to create order, not chaos, then what happens is your decisiveness plays to your strengths and your advantage, because you're able to make the decisions that are going to bring you out of the storm and into the results that you really want and that you're seeking. So that is great. And guys, what I want to do is I would like to transition into talking a little bit about Matt. And Matt, tell everybody, because I know that we started off because we are good friends, and we've known each other for a long time. So we just started off this show with like gangbusters. So I would like everybody to get to know you, and so tell us about you and where you work and what you do and how you are making a difference in the real estate world.
Well, I'm from Texas. I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas, back in the 60s and 70s, and I've lived in DFW all my life. My family and I are right here. I'm within miles of my siblings, and my mom is still alive. She's 92 now. And yep, shout out to her, man. She's still going after it. Her mom, my grandma, made it to just a little bit over 100. So I keep to my mom, you might be going as long as Grandma Bessie has, so we'll see. But I've got 3 daughters, 1 boy, so always pray for me. And a lovely wife that I've been married to for over 22 years now, and she works here in the Metroplex. And so we live over in the Denton area, and I work for a company called Super Inspector, and that is owned by Blake and Angela Williams. And I've known Blake and Angela just as long as I've known Brian, and I've done a lot of coaching with their business. And several years ago, Blake decided to become a multi-inspector firm. So he was an inspector and had a pest control company. and then decided that he wanted to expand his service area and his services. And so he wanted to become obviously a multi inspector firm. And so about 4.5 years ago, I was in land surveying business for a long time, and they came along and started talking to me about what their plans were and their goals were. And I really saw those goals appear. And I thought that I could help them be a benefit to grow their market share and grow their business. And so now we're in all DFW area. We're in Austin, and we just opened up San Antonio this year. We've got a few more cities like the areas that we're in now that we're going to work in the next couple of years. But they had a vision of what they wanted to do and how they wanted to grow, and we just felt like not only the word being super was going to be the name of the company, but it was the way that we were going to affect people and the way that we were going to act. And so we're just growing like gangbusters. And obviously COVID has attacked us in certain ways that we had to transition and make some changes, but we're back on the mark, and we're back to building our business. And really the way we look at what we do is we get to help families move into homes. And so that's my results of the business and the work that I do, is I get to see people not only move into homes and move into a home that could be safe and comfortable and protective for them and their family, but also creating investment.
That is great. And one of the things that you do, Matt, that I want to highlight is you've taken basically a redefined role in marketing, and one you're a fantastic voice and brand ambassador for your company. Fantastic, hands down on that. And that's one of the things that I truly admire, because you've always taken that to heart. But the other thing that I've watched you do is that you have become, and you still are, an educator and an instructor to the real estate professionals. So other realtors can come to your classes, and they learn about marketing, and they learn about the things that you do, and you have a video class that you teach on that, which was fantastic. I still have the packet and the notes that you gave me. So, I mean, I've watched you adapt. I've watched you take different tools and resources to enhance your personal ability and your skill sets and your giftings, as well as be extremely generous to the company that you're working with to watch them grow and help them. So not only do you help families move into safe houses, but you also help the real estate industry, and you're very integral in doing that. So tell us a little bit about the education format. And we have probably about 20 seconds on that, and then I need to wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah. So I learned from a long time ago, and you are definitely a benefit to that too, Brian, is that education is the key to real estate. And that if you're in the real estate business, education is plentiful. It's very bountiful. You can get as much as you want forever, right, of your lifetime of your business. And so I learned back then that was going to be a key role for me, is to be able to learn and walk through strategies that would help me in my business, and be able to be a river to others, right? Just a flowing river. As I learn and I pass it on. I learn and I pass it on. And so now I've got a 3-part series on videos and YouTube and other classes that I teach too. But I feel that it's very important to be able to help people, to get them to facilitate better understanding to their clientele also. And that's through education.
That is awesome. And I love that. I love the phrase, education is the key to real estate. Whether you're buying a home, you're selling a home, whether you're in the real estate industry, education is the key, and absolutely love that, Matt. I'm probably going to borrow that. Okay. And I will give you, I'll give you all the credit for the first few times, and then we'll probably
first
just
few
adopt
times.
it.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
good
just
with the
adopt
first
it.
few times, brother. Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, Lyndon, do you have any closing questions or remarks that you'd like to say?
I don't. You guys have done a great job today. I'm sitting here. I've got a page full of notes, but Matt, it's good to see you again,
It's
and
good to be good, brother.
and love to hear your stories, and I really appreciate what you're doing, not only for the inspection industry but for the real estate industry as a whole. And you mentioned something earlier about taking the leadership approach, and for me and what I created with the difference, that is the difference. One of the largest differences, education, but you got to have the leaders out there to teach. And so I really appreciate that in what you do for the real estate industry as a whole.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Great show. Appreciate you, Matt. And you guys can, Matt's information is at the bottom of our screen. So please reach out to Matt for any inspection needs that you have, or just to call him and ask him a question. He is a wealth of knowledge. Fantastic guest today. Thank you again, Lyndon, for putting together the difference, the radio show, the program, to allow us to have a platform to share our voice. Guys, you have listened to Redefining Real Estate. I'm Brian Dobbs, your host, and greatly appreciate you listening and tuning in today. And we are here every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Love for you to share the program. Follow us on Facebook. Check us out. Ask us questions. And we would love to answer. We'd love to have you even your quotes, or have you on the show one time. So again, thank you for tuning in. This is Brian Dobbs signing out. Until next week, I'll see you later.